Welcome to the Astro Forecast for the week of March 6th through to the 12th. We have an exciting week. This is going to be a great week for you. So I'm so excited. You can see how excited I am. So we start off the week with the moon is gaining in light, where the full moon is actually on the Tuesday. So we're going to start to feel that kind of ramping up of energy. And this is kind of a precursor to, the day before the full moon. But it's a good aspect on this day. We have the sun sextile to Uranus. So the sun is our egoic will. It's our vitality. It's the way we feel about ourselves. And Uranus is about change. It's about our, individuality, technology. It's a ruling planet for Aquarius. So it likes to shake things up for new creative energy to come in. And the sextile is a 60-degree angle. So these two planets are really working well harmoniously together. And it's considered sort of this ingenious energy. It's a time when we're going to be feeling really creative, when we're feeling like we're just not wanting to be tied down, or wanting to go with our own flow and really tap into our own genius, if you will. So it's a great day to kind of wear something that feels bold to you, right? Really let your star shine, whatever that is for you. So today you're going to feel more kind of bold to be yourself and do more things your way. There'll be flashes of insight. There's going to be, small changes that you make now can bring about some big kind of growth for you. So keep doing those small changes. I'm getting the nudge from Spirit to share. My motto for this year is doing things differently, trying something new. So this is going to be a day, and this week, especially because Uranus is going to be playing with us in a really lovely way this week, to try something new, to do something in a different way, and to be creative and boldly you, right? There's definitely, with Jupiter in Aries, Venus in Aries, we're wanting to be boldly ourselves. So this is going to be that energy to help with that. Important improvements can come about today. Creativity, pleasant surprises, changes to the agenda, and trying something new is on my notes. So this is not going to be a week where everything is going to flow according to plan, but what changes are going to come about or surprises are going to be pleasant, should be pleasant, and flow with these changes. See what's positive, see what the universe is bringing to you that might be unexpected, but also playing with your thinking of control, right? Because Uranus doesn't like control. It likes to be free to express. It likes to be, able to go with its own creativity, its own agenda, and it's changing things up for you because you are stuck in a rut, right? We get stuck in a rut when we continue to kind of go with the old ways of doing things, right? So Uranus likes to change that up. So that leads into a full moon in Virgo on Tuesday at the 16th degree of Virgo. So this is I believe it's the 4th of 5 or the 5 of 6, but it's in a string of full moons at the 16th degree of a sign. And that 16 degree mark, that corresponds with the tarot. 16 in the tarot is the Tower card. Major changes ahead. And of course, Uranus is playing in here as well this week, so changes are brewing. So this full moon is at 16 degrees of Virgo, and it's happening at 5:40 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, so 4:40 a.m. on the West Coast, and add 2 hours, 7:40 a.m. on the East Coast. So this full moon at the beginning of the day is bringing about a release, a culmination. Full moons are when the sun and the moon are directly opposite each other. It's a culmination of finishing whatever was planted 6 months ago at the new moon in Virgo. It was going to come to some light of understanding now. And Virgo is about discernment, purification, cleanliness, detail oriented. It's a sign that can get caught up in the details, can get caught up in the control aspect of things. And Pisces is its opposite sign. So we know the sun is in Pisces right now, and Neptune is also in Pisces. So they're a little far apart, but they're still kind of within 8 degrees of each other. So it's a little bit wide. But with Neptune and the sun in Pisces, We are also going to have another planet entering Pisces during this time, and Mercury is in Pisces as well. So there's actually 5 planets in mutable signs at this time. Mutability is about flowing, flexibility, creativity, ingenuity, versatility, being able to flow with change, right? It's the signs that are able to kind of finish off what needs to be done and then move to something else. So the beauty of mutability is that we can flow with change. I am a very mutable person. So if something happens, I'm like, all right, solutions, let's go. What do we have to do next? But I like a lot of things, right? I am a multi-passionate person. So people with a lot of mutability in their sign will have this flexibility and able to flow with crisis and change very easily. But the downside of mutability is that we can feel really scattered. We can feel like there's so many things, there's so many potentials. And I can feel that when you give me too many potentials, I'm like, oh, all right. Like a menu that has 30 appetizers, I was like, I want all of them. Like, is there a platter? Can someone share with me? I'm always finding ways to try bits of everything. Like the death of me is if I had to eat just one thing for the rest of my life. Like, ugh, ugh. Right? Whereas some people are very fixed and they order the same thing every time they go out, right? That's what brings them joy. So as a mutable person, I like a lot of change. I like a lot of flexibility in my schedule, and I'm a multi-passionate person. That's why I'm not just an astrologer. I'm also a psychic medium. I'm also a grief counselor, and they all flow together because I help you understand your soul's design, right? So when we think about this full moon being very mutable, there's going to be, especially with Uranus kind of bookending this week, there's going to be a lot of flow in this week. Things aren't just going to be as you have organized your schedule to be. So just bringing in that little hint of flow in your day, and if things change, you're like, thank you, Sheetal, we are flowing with change. We're going to practice. Life is an adventure. Just saying that, right? Just flowing with whatever's happening in your day. So this full moon in Virgo is quite potent. So the Virgo Pisces axis, right there in astrology, all the signs have a dichotomy. There's always an opposition in the chart, in the zodiac. So the Virgo Pisces axis is about health and healing and wellness and self-care. So Virgo in itself is about kind of practical applied healing and health, right? So practical health. And then spirituality is more the realm of Pisces. So it's spiritual health. So we want to have that balance between physical health and spiritual health, right? Pisces rules kind of transcendence, spirituality, our connection to the divine, intuition. So this full moon is asking us to kind of balance these two parts of us. What are we doing in our life that is creating a lot of imbalance, right? What foods are you eating? What are you consuming with your eyeballs, right? Social media, the television. What are you consuming with your ears? Who are you listening to? Who are you around? Are they supporting you and shining your light in the best ways? Or are they reminding you of Grandpa Joe, who never amounted to anything, and you're a dreamer just like him? You know what? Like that bullshit needs to go, because this full moon is saying clear the clutter. Virgo likes to clear clutter. It's discerning, it's purifying. It doesn't want all this extra crap around. Right. So I had someone in my community say, I've got ADHD and I'm really struggling with focus. And I'm like, well, how much are you scattering yourself? Right. That's actually ADHD shows up in the astrology with Mercury being your mind, your thought processing. And if it's kind of aspected to something like Neptune or Saturn or Pluto, we can kind of be either fixated or scattered. Right. So, and of course, depending on the sign and house of your Mercury as well. So we sort of can see these things, and everything is an opportunity. Everything is a gift, but you've got to learn how to use it. So this week, especially if you have ADHD or you feel yourself very scattered, what can you remove from your environment so that you're not so pulled all over the place? Right? This is going to be discernment is kind of the rule of the week. Now, the other part of this full moon is that there's a square. So the sun and the moon are opposite each other, moon being in Virgo and the sun being in Pisces. And then we have Neptune over here with the sun, making us very sensitive, very intuitive, very feely. It's a time when there's a lot of healing that comes up for the collective. So if you've been feeling emotional, if you're feeling old traumas or old habit patterns coming up, you are right on time. This is Pisces season. And there's a square to both of them. We call it a T-square, right? Because they're opposite. And then there's a square to both of them to Mars. Mars square the moon and square the sun can make us feel frustrated, make us feel like we want to go faster, or not being allowed to do things, or we're feeling kind of like our egoic will is blocked, right? And so this is helping us as well. The positive of this is what it's in Gemini too, still in Gemini. Oh my God, Mars will move out of Gemini into Cancer in the month of March, but oh man, it's been so much Gemini energy. And so this Mars in Gemini is asking us, it's about information overload, right? It's about curiosity overload. So where have you been really blocked? Maybe you don't have enough information. Maybe you feel like you don't have enough details, which is totally bullshit, right? It's a way that we can hold ourselves back. So Virgo, one of the downsides of Virgo is analysis paralysis. We just need all the details before we move. It has to be perfect or we don't do it, right? I have a mentor that says 70% perfect is done. 100% perfect is a waste, right? Who cares? No one cares, right? You're the only one that cares. And you've just wasted that 30% of energy, 30% of attention and details and whatever, where you could have been putting it to something else, right? So my motto now is done is better than perfect. And it was interesting because I had to sit with, if I didn't proofread something well enough and I caught a spelling mistake or a grammar mistake, as a Virgo, that would really irritate me. But now I'm just like, whatever. You know what? Done is better than perfect. Okay, thanks. Oh, I got the time wrong on the full moon by 5 minutes. Great. Whatever. I don't care. So it's been really interesting to see when I first started adopting this way of being, I used to get a lot of trolls going, you're off by 5 minutes. You spelled this wrong. I'm like, yep, no problem. Thanks. Said I'm healing my perfectionism. I would do that to all of them until they no longer did it back to me. So it was really interesting, to just be like, whatever. I really don't care. It doesn't indicate anything about my intelligence. Whereas I did have a childhood trauma where I felt like people thought I was stupid, right? Now, 5 minutes, you think I'm a bad astrologer with 5 minutes? You probably shouldn't be following me then, right? So it's very interesting when we start to kind of see these patterns within ourselves, right? So this full moon is going to be bringing up, where are you judgy? Where are you judgy with yourself? Where are you judgy with others? Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're judgy with someone else, then there's something here reflecting, right? If you're like, oh, I can't believe that girl would wear that dress. Why not? Because you wouldn't wear that dress? Because you don't have the confidence? Interesting. Something to think about. When judgment falls out of your mouth, it's because there's a wound here, not there, right? So pay attention to that, this one. So being important, where are you being critical? That's going to be something that's going to bring up with this full moon. Now, there's some really wonderful gifts with this full moon. Venus is conjunct to Jupiter, meaning that there's still this, what we love and value and our ability to expand things. Like we are bold, we are wanting to move ahead with something, trying new things, taking a course, trying out new habits in our life, creating something new in our life. This is a wonderful aspect for that. And Venus is also sextile to Mars. So we have a lot of motivation. But with that square to the sun and moon, we can feel frustrated. We can feel like we're not really getting to move ahead. What do you need to release so you can move ahead? Right? In Gemini is about our thinking, our communication, our thought processing. We're stuck in a detail of something that really isn't important. What can you release now about that? And Mercury is Virgo's ruling planet. He's in Pisces. Now, in Pisces, Mercury doesn't really like to be in Pisces because it's a very flowy, intuitive sign. It doesn't really get to do anything. It's more connecting to the divine, to ourselves, to our intuition, our spirituality. But this is really heightening your intuition. And if you know me, I teach Intuition 101. Intuition is like the root of everything. It's your compass, right? If you're not connected to your own knowing, then you're connected to other people's knowing, and now you're not connected to your own intelligence. You're circumventing your own intelligence and really conceding to everyone else's ideas and judgments and views of you. So there's no power in that. You actually abdicate your power when you defer to someone else's knowing. So now, of course, science and stuff aside, there's understanding of how much you know, and then who are the specialists, who are the experts. But in this part of Mercury in Pisces is about tapping into your intuition. And Mercury is sextile to the North Node almost to the same degree. So this is the North Node is our karmic destiny. So our mind as a collective, and for you as well watching this, is concerned about the future, right? We're thinking about what do we want to do in the future? Who do we want to be in the future? And in this future moment, when you're thinking about the future in this moment, so the future at this moment in time, who do you want? What do you want for yourself? We are all manifesting. And whether you know it or not, you're either manifesting with the thing that you want or against the thing that you want. So if you really want it and you're like, man, why won't the universe just give me this money? And everybody's like, oh, she hasn't learned the lesson about money yet. Here's another obstacle. Here's another obstacle. Here's another, you're actually repelling the thing that you want. It's a little messed up. If you want to learn more, check out the link in my bio. I got an awesome 2 courses about lucky girl syndrome. So bringing in more luck into your life and understanding how, if you're lucky, if you feel lucky, then you feel optimistic. You feel like possibilities are abounding and they're available to you. And you can train yourself to do that. You can train yourself. This is so cool. So what's your experience with luck? And then also healing the money wound. So if you have issues with money, healing the money wound, so important. Otherwise, you're repelling money. So check that out if you're interested. So as we move into the later, an hour after the full moon, not even an hour, the full moon is at 5:40 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. At 6:35 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, we have Saturn moving into Pisces. This hasn't happened for 30 years. So Saturn is about a 30-year cycle around the zodiac. And anyone who is born between 1993 and 1996, you are going to be experiencing in the next few years your Saturn return. So Saturn is the taskmaster of the zodiac. He is Father Time. He's timekeeper of the zodiac. And so whenever you have your Saturn return, it's a grow up phase in your life. So you can have it every 30 years. So you can have it, in your late 20s, early 30s, and then in your late 50s, early 60s. And then if you're so blessed, another 30 years later. So you could have up to 3 Saturn returns in your lifetime. And Saturn really kind of divides your life into thirds. So the first third is when you're sort of growing up and you're sort of setting down your roots and figuring out who you are. Then the second third is when you're really kind of understanding your gifts and talents. And then the last third of your life, you're really, the fruits of your labor, the gravy of your life. You're now in this, like, I don't care. I'm here to do the thing that I came here to do. And I really don't care what people think of me. So it's almost like we're growing into that. And the Saturn now moving into Pisces, this is a very interesting thing because Saturn is the taskmaster of the zodiac. He likes things done a certain way. He's about responsibility, structure, duty, right? Are you taking responsibility? Are you being the authority you came here to be? And in Pisces is about healing and spirituality, and we are all one, So this is an interesting dichotomy because these two are not similar. But when Saturn moves into Pisces, this is now happening on this day, Tuesday, March 7th, and he's going to stay here until May 24th, 2025. He'll dip out into Aries and he'll come back into Pisces again and then eventually move out. But these 3 years is going to be very significant. And if you've been around from 1993 to 1996, you should look back at your life at that point and see what was happening in your life about taking responsibility for your gifts, for your intuition, for healing, for all of these kind of being there for other people. But really it's about your spirituality. And wherever Pisces is in your chart, Saturn was sitting there going, pay attention. Are you doing the thing you came here to do in this part of your life? So this is for the collective. Saturn in Pisces is about healthcare, right? Are we going to be, I think we're going to be seeing some breakthroughs in healthcare. We're going to see restructuring in healthcare. We're already starting to see the kind of the seeds of that here in Canada with the federal government and funding, things like that. So government is Saturn and Pisces is the health system, the healing system, the Medicare, hospitals, things like that. I think we're also going to see some new drugs and rules around drugs. specifically, pharmaceuticals that are very addictive in nature, and the doctors that are prescribing them, and some rules and regulations around that with opioids. And, yes, there's a place for it, but it's also, there's some really horrible side effects to society. And then I think we're also going to see psychedelics, the rise of psychedelics in use for PTSD. So there's the healing, there's structure around the healing of it, right? So PTSD are in use with a psychiatrist, psychologist, a therapist to kind of bring that structure in. So you're not just doing drugs to get high, you're actually doing it for proper healing with direction, with structure, with an authority figure there to lead the way for you. Right. So that's going to be really important. I also see in Pisces is spirituality. So there's definitely going to be a reckoning for people who use spirituality to further their agenda, to hurt people and to try to control the masses in some way that's very toxic. I think we're going to see more con spirituality. So conspiracy with spirituality mixed in, coming to the fore for us to see them for what they really are, which is toxic and awful. And I think we're really going to see a more regulation around the spiritual industry because there is so many people hurting, more people that are coming in for healing, right? This is a very vulnerable industry, like especially with things like mediumship and spirituality. We're seeing people that are going through really tough times. And if we are leading them down a path of saying, don't take your meds or don't do this or don't listen to their, and then they kill themselves or something happens to them, there has to be repercussions for that. And I know of so many cases where that has happened. And I personally, as a Virgo, I'm like, yes, this is overdue. There's regulations needed here because it's kind of a free for all. It's buyer beware. And so many people that are coming into this industry are hurting. So we need some help with that. So I think we're going to see more of that and more cult leaders and spiritual leaders being held to account as well. So that's going to be very interesting. So yeah, buckle up, right? Saturn in Pisces is going to be so exciting. I am so excited for it. And I was looking at it even in my own chart, and it's running through my third house of communication. So, and looking back at this time, I was actually graduating high school at that time. So, you know how old I am, right? But, in that time, I was really actually changing who I thought I was or where I was going. In high school, I was very science oriented. I thought I was going to go into medical school. And then I got into university. My first year of university was 95, 96. And I was like, oh my God, this is not my life. Right. And then I ended up switching into business and then wanting to go into law school, which that also wasn't my life. But it was really interesting time of like understanding myself at a deeper level and really listening to my intuition during that time, which was wild. So I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm saying that now, but catch me in a couple years. I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? So, we all go through it. If you're in the 3D, we are all going through it. No one is above this. And if you see spiritual leaders that are preaching and talking about stuff, I want you to know they're in it too. They're just not sharing it. Okay. We're all going through this. So Tuesday, I'm just going to say, Thursday, March 9th, just be careful that you don't overdo it and you're trying to do too much to fit into your schedule. Okay, there's just some moon stuff that day. Friday, March 10th, also, it's a good day to clean out your closets. You might, there's some people pleasing energy in there too, eager to please. You're wanting to be around people. You're very sensitive. So just being aware of that. Saturday, we have two aspects on Saturday, and it's Venus sextile to Mars. So this is a beautiful energy of motivation, of going after what you want. Venus is in Aries and Mars is in Gemini. So this energy is like we have the right information to get going on things. This is very social. This is very amicable energy. This is great for dating as well. You have a lot of confidence. It's a great day for self-promotion. So if you're speaking on a stage with Mercury and Pisces, you probably are able to really touch people's hearts and souls with your words. Confidence, social, receive and give love, changing of an old pattern is possible now, boost of creativity and motivation, and you have the energy to be innovative in something. This whole week, you have an innovative energy available to you. because of Venus in Aries and Jupiter in Aries conjunct each other, and this Mars energy coming in as well. And if it's sextiling Venus, it'll also sextile Jupiter. So there's going to be this energy coming in of like helping you get things done, right? And we also have Mercury sextile to Uranus on this day too. This is ingenious ideas, creativity, out of the box thinking, wonderful connections with interesting people, exciting events happening, unexpected, meetings of people, flashes of insight, creativity, a great time for psychic downloads and being really psychic and intuitive. Exciting news can come to your ears this day. Seeing things differently. It's a great day for brunch. This weekend is going to be a great weekend for brunching and for thinking about things differently, having great conversations that are opening your mind to new experiences and new ideas for things that maybe you didn't think were possible. I love this energy for helping people change their patterns by showing them blind spots. So these are great conversations. And if you're out with, friends that really talk about meaningful things, great time to go out for brunch. And then just as a reminder for those of you in the Western Hemisphere, Sunday, March 12th, we have daylight saving time. We are jumping ahead 1 hour. And there's a little bit of anxiousness in here and a little bit of sensitivity in the zodiac for this week. Sorry, in the astrology for this Sunday. So the time change might throw you off for the coming week, but all is well. This is a fabulous week to release, to clear, to purify, to focus on your health. What are you putting in your body? What are you consuming that feels really good to you? And where are you feeling drained? And do less of the draining and more of the filling. Wishing you a wonderful week ahead. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I have so much fun doing these. I hope you enjoy watching them, and I will see you next week. Bye.